Hello, everybody, and welcome to ABM Answered, the quickfire demand gen and ABM video series, or at least that's what we're aiming for today. Today, I'm excited to be joined by the very talented Deepak Jhakal, who is Director and Global Digital ABMer at tech giant Pure Storage, but has also run stints at Oracle, HP, and HCL. So, my first question, Deepak, is how did you just land these big jobs at these tech giants? And maybe you could give a bit more background and context around your roles there before we dive into some questions.
Yeah. I started my career with HCL Technologies in the marketing function. So we started like very in the direct marketing function where we were focusing a lot more on direct marketing in 2007, which where the digital was not that increase. It was increasing, but it was not that sophisticated from that perspective. So we are doing a lot of digital from a direct marketing perspective during that phase. So I learned a lot of things from a overall skill sets perspective on how sitting in India you can do a marketing in Europe or US using digital channels and engage your audience. So that was a lot more like my foundation, I would say. And then from there, I moved to giant like HP, but then now HPE. So when I joined HP, it was a massive organization. You can imagine $100 billion in revenue. You have hundreds and thousands of employees. So, but the learning opportunity it provide was a lot more. So, I've done a couple of different roles in HP as well in marketing. So, like whether it can be channel marketing, field marketing, SMB marketing, and then finally, I before I left, I was running the APJ Digital Demand Center for HPE. So, a lot more focus on digital media, digital marketing aspects, and then from there I continued my journey in digital for last 10 years or so across different organizations. Like I worked in for a short time in Oracle, did a bit of consulting as well, like helping some companies to set up their digital marketing services, which they can provide to B2B companies as well. And in last 5 years plus, I've been with Pure Storage. I ran APJ Digital Demand Center for a few years, and then now currently I look after all international digital marketing, global digital ABM for some strategic accounts, and then also take care of some of the tech stuff for paid marketing, paid media as well.
I mean, you
Yeah,
are more than qualified to rattle off a few ABM questions, I'm sure, on this one.
I'll
So
try.
yeah, we'll give it a go. So to just run you quickly through the
Yeah.
rules and the viewers through the rules, you'll be given a set of questions to respond to,
Yeah.
all about demand gen and ABM.
Mhm.
The questions have come from or been based on the data we collected at Mixed Reality Rooms, where 1,000 marketers have gone through and given us what their biggest headaches are.
Mhm.
And in more recent episodes, we've started to include previous guest questions.
Mhm.
So, why I pull that up, Deepak, are you ready for question
Yeah.
one? Cool. Question one came in from Sarab Sanghi, and I love this question because it's coming up more and more. Is what is the right time for an organization to adopt an ABM approach?
Yeah, so if you look at the history of ABM, ABM was pretty much mostly for IT services company. That's how the ABM was formed. If you look at history, how the ABM was formed and the ITSMA, which organization which started this, I think 20 plus years ago. So that was the first time I encountered working with HCL Technologies. We used to work with ITSMA on the ABM front. But what really was useful from an ABM perspective was for services companies because they are so massive in terms of products and services which they provide. So ABM was very relevant to them perspective that period of time. And as the organizations have started growing, the company started coming through. Personally, if you ask me, a lot of the time the ABM makes sense for the companies which is more length. They have multiple solutions for the tech stack of the customers. So if you have a single product or a single solution for that stack, ABM you can do only to certain extent because you would probably not be able to engage a lot of buyers, a lot of decision makers, because to do and full scale ABM, you need a lot of dedicated content creation, you need dedicated technology, spend, resources, strategic plans with the sales organization. So, not every company would probably be able to do that. But what we are seeing in last few years and what currently I'm seeing is most of the marketing these days the companies are doing is account based because it's not this into the same ABM motion which you call one to one, but we are doing a lot more ABM. I would say in digital world, I would say whatever we do, 95% is account based, because that's where we want to make sure we are targeting the right accounts, continue to engage with the set of the accounts which we want to go after, because the account list doesn't change for a lot of the companies, it remains the same. So I would say most of the companies are doing that because technology is helping you to enable that, to do more focused account led targeting, which is in one form to ABM, because you are not personalizing at account level, but you're personalizing probably at industry level or vertical level, the messages which you want to engage for that industry. But that, I would say, it's a growth ABM which you can target one to many accounts, I would say. But for one to one, I would still personally, I believe it's still relevant for more organizations where you have a lot of solutions to cater to a customer. If you have one solution or two solution, it might probably not worth investing that much effort and time.
That is a great. What I love about your response is it was clear and definitive. It's not like, and it's totally reasonable. A lot of people I interview go, "It depends," and that is totally fine. But you've
Yeah,
given a good like black or white
yeah,
answer to that,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
wicked. Question two came in from Freya Ward at Headley Media. She asked, "What does first-party data mean to you,
Mhm.
and how will first-party data shape ABM in 2025 and beyond?"
Yeah, so I think first party data is becoming more and more important in your tech stack. But what I've noticed, I'm learning as well after interacting with a lot of my peers in the industry, as well as how everybody's using data. So a lot of time, what happens is, because in ABM motions, most of the companies will buy a tech stack, use the intent data, which is the third party data, to go and do ABM. And that's not probably a right approach, I would say, because you have to marry both first party and third party data to validate what you're seeing in third party and what's you're seeing in first party. Now, marrying that both data into a single source or the platform gives you a view at the account level that where I'm strong from an engagement, from an ABM perspective, that I'm very strong in first party engagement, which is maybe our web, maybe our digital, but I'm very weak in field engagement or field marketing events, which we are doing. So that gives you insights from where you're strong, where you're weak, because in today's world, a lot of the decision makers are so bugged up with so many messages coming to them, so many vendors reaching out to them. So the data and insights tells you that how do I structure from first party data perspective, how can I structure my communication, what could be my governance framework for the ABM program, and how I can use this data to make sure that I'm sending the right message to the customer, like using intent plus your first party engagement data to tell the customer is interested in this solution, so I should probably send him only this message right now. I'll give you an example. We looked at similar insights into one of the large accounts which we're trying to do ABM, and we uncovered across the organization, we send them 10 different messages in 2 months. Doesn't make sense, because if it's your strategic and ABM account, that shouldn't happen. So that data and insights, like first party insights combined with third party, gave us like, okay, we need probably a good communication framework for my ABM accounts, where the ABM team decides what communication goes out to these accounts, and when, what time, what kind of messaging I want to do it to this account and engage them, whether it's physical, digital, any kind of tactic which you're using from an engagement perspective. And that also, the first party data also helps you understand whether my messaging is resonating with the audience, right? If I'm doing a lot of the custom messaging for an account, I'm building a lot of message for that account, I'm sending some emails out, doing a webinar or doing an event. Based on the response into these messages, you can clearly understand from first party data perspective, how am I doing, where I need to optimize, how which channels I need to optimize to engage better, right? So I think the first party plays a very important role, but I think you need to have a good process to go through that data and insights on regular basis, which can aid your ABM program to optimize and then measure well from a outcome perspective, and then of course helps you drive a better engagement. Like even when you're doing using first party data to deliver personalization on your website, it helps you understand that is it that I did a control test. We did a control test using first party data to understand, okay, this account was interested in this. So we did some personalization using that data point, but is the customer resonating or not? Do we have enough engagement? Did the engagement went up? Did the CTR rates went up? People spending time went up from the account. So that helps you validate a lot of the things which you're doing. Are they correct? Are they in right direction? And are they influencing the account in the right way which you expect?
Deepak, that's insane. What I love most about that is the amalgamation of third and first party data, for sure, bang on the money, but also your point, the understanding the tactics. I think when a lot of people talk about ABM, it's so high level, but like, yeah, actually using that first party data to understand what vehicle of like getting that message out there
Yeah,
is super, super awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Question three is, how do you see technology enabling scalable, and you mentioned it earlier in kind of question one, like personalized ABM engagements or
Mhm.
campaigns? So ultimately, kind of what role should marketers play in leveraging technology for what we call growth ABM? And I know you mentioned one to many, but I would also include one to few in growth
Yeah,
ABM
yeah.
as well. I'd bracket it all up like that.
Yeah, I would say AI is helping a lot from today from a content perspective. Like,
Mhm.
first of all, for one to one, it's helping a lot to do a lot of account research, shorten the time to collect the all the insights for their account in terms of news articles, the priorities, etc. What the account might have. So it helps you collect that information, synthesize it, create a summary for you for that particular account. It's helping a lot. Like people are using ChatGPT, or a lot of vendors have solutions like ITSMA has their own solution where if you can use their AI platform to run account research, develop some content around that based on your solutions. And there are a few other vendors as well which are coming up which tells you similar does like the analyst used to take a lot of time, but this will help you reduce a lot of time from a tools perspective. When it comes to more from activation and engagement perspective, the AI tools are helping a lot from personalization at scale, especially on the growth front. Like if you are doing one to few, one to many, like you are like tools like Mutiny, which has a lot of the AI component, which helps you personalize lot of things for that particular account, particular page, with the name changes, the message changes, using a lot of the AI information which they have as well. That's helping you reduce the time to write the content, engage as well. And then there, of course, from a chatbot perspective, the AI solutions are helping from a lot of personalization front as well. So yeah, I would say there are a lot of technology which enables you, but I think you one thing which I have learned is unless you don't have a strong robust process on how to use each of this into your processes, it's not going to work. Like there would be a lot of small work, small bits and pieces we might be doing across the organization. In most a lot of the companies, like small teams might be doing some testing, learning, but if you don't have a robust process which you want to follow from a scale perspective, then it's not going to help unless you don't have that process in place.
The Yeah, it's kind of like looking at vendors. It's these big vendors. There's a lot of frustration out there for like demand based, Six Sense, all of those because they cost so much money. But to your point, one of the biggest value adds that they have is it's almost like all connected. It's so well integrated across the system, so it's quite easy to install. Whereas these little AI agents that are coming up, which are really good and they could be amazing. They're like point solutions, really good for one thing. They struggle to sometimes integrate and speak. So it's almost like they're you got to categorize them into two. Like some you can use the AI agents and stuff, cheap, affordable, quick to
Yeah,
get going for like scale ups. But when it comes to enterprise level, which I'm sure you're more familiar with,
yeah,
you really do have to think about that infrastructure piece. On that, just a quick little follow on question, and I might edit this out. But I'm just super curious because you seem to be deep into technology. If you could invent one software or tool, what would it, be? What would it do, and like why? Do you have one off the top of your head? Is there like a frustration that you come across?
I think because there are in silos, there's a lot of things available today. I think it's more from, if anything, I would invent probably like combination of a lot of tools with easier workflow perspective for a marketeer to use. Like today we have Six Sense, Demand Base, etc. All of these integrate data very well, gives you a story, helps you activation to certain channels. But I think the activation can become more robust with more open AI engagements, open API engagements with a lot of the platforms which we do. If I build something which would, if I want to build something out, I would build something where I have 100% of the data, which where it's first, second, third, fourth, third party, everything integrated into single platform, can deliver a 360-degree view of an account or a person for me.
Hmm.
And that aids, then that's your insight, right? And how do I take that insight to activate into all the channels? It's integrated as well with a seamless workflow, and then measure and optimize on regular basis using AI, that if there are certain messages not working, can I fine tune the messaging quickly, personalize it at scale level. So that's what I would build, which I guess a lot of companies are trying to achieve that today. The future would be there in next few years, I would say. That's how I would see it will come, where it can become more canvas based approach, wherein you just say, this is my target audience, this is what I want to deliver to them based on this, and this is my messaging and creatives, and now it will go and activate across the different channels.
Interesting. That's a solid answer off the top of the dome there. Okay, next question. What are like the top two or three maybe AI tools that you use right now?
We of course use ChatGPT for a lot of the tabs. We
Hmm.
do use Glean, which is the enterprise uh, AI tool, and then we work with ITSMA on certain things from an ABM perspective, and currently we do use Drift and your Adobe Target for personalization as well. So yeah, these are a
Awesome.
few tools which we use for that.
Cool. Next question came in from Steve Armenti at 12th. He's also had a lot of background in running ABM agency enterprises like Google and Verizon. He asked, how do you think that ABM can best be applied to existing customers, and what might that look like?
Yeah, so I would say the existing customer would, if I'm looking at ABM for existing customers, if there is an TAM data which you have, it says you might be at 20% of that TAM into an account, and the
Hmm.
TAM is huge from an existing customer perspective. That means you still have potential to grow 80%. So that's where I would divert my focus towards, wherein for existing customer. And I guess for existing customer, it even makes sense to do based on these data points to help you evaluate that what can I sell more to the account, whether it's upsell, cross sell, different functions. So how can you use one department to pitch for another department as a champion? So that way can help you drive better conversion and engagement with your existing customers from an ABM perspective, and it helps you grow that your account share basically in that particular product or a solution across the organization. And that also helps you expand to international markets, right? Because currently you might be very strong in an account in US, but they might be, the same account might have EMEA, APJ presence. They might make decisions locally for certain technology. So how can you expand in using more the US, the influence of the existing engagement you have? So easier to do when you have an existing engagement, I would say, because I can give you an example. When for in one of the existing customers, which is has huge TAM, we did some personalization work, and the customer wrote to an account rep that this is fantastic. We have seen on your website when visited that you are using a lot of our vision parameters, vision and future plans to suggest what solutions you can use from your side onto when we are visiting on your website. So that feedback was really great, that they could see a personalization their brand integrating with our brand, how we can deliver more value for their vision in the future. So I would say ABM would make sense 80% of the time for existing customers, for
That
large existing customers.
awesome. I've got a really good follow-on question for this. Maybe not really good, but like a burning question.
Mm.
Like, so are we talking about like personalized landing pages where obviously you've got a relationship, the champion has told you what the vision of the company is? That will almost be like the top of the, like, here is where you want to be. And like, here is like three or
Yeah,
four
yeah,
ways using
yeah,
our solutions. And then
yeah.
in terms of distributing that around, so you mentioned like it could be department agnostic, right? And you could break into different departments. Would you rely on your champion to distribute that landing page to other departments or
No,
like video?
you need to use the marketing channels to reach to the different departments, right? That's where your integration of your technology into different activation channel makes sense.
Mhm.
Like I am aware, a lot of times we have seen people have technology, they are not integrating into different activation channels. Like for example, when you're using 6 Sense, you probably want to integrate everything: Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. Run advertising channel campaigns, do the orchestration in Marketo, do the personalization using the drift or the target when, because it can help you identify who is coming. Like basically, if the account is coming, I can change a lot of things for them, which I want to deliver. So I think it's more of that holistic strategy around that. What you have this technology, you want to integrate everything and then activating the same message across various channels where you can capture the audience engagement, whether they are doing some research for different solution, whether they are on third party site, you want to engage them. So that's the thing with integration, integrated technology and activation approach, I would say, that enables you to drive, I would say, better outcome with your ABM efforts. I would say you probably don't put the center, like don't put technology as your center strategy for ABM, but it helps you activate that strategy in an integrated way. I would say
Mm.
technology, and it helps you deliver better insights, better outcomes from a measurement perspective. And you don't use, I would say, last tip would be, don't use only third party intent to design your ABM strategy. Merge all your first party and third party data to develop your ABM strategy.
Solid answer. Question came in from Cassandra Gulia at Entrust, so cyber company. How, oh God, I love this one. How has your thoughts on ABM slash demand gen evolved over the last 12 months?
Yeah. So one thing we have noticed, or and after work, because we have built this in-house digital ABM practice in 18 months or so. We have been running this digital services for the field marketing for ABM activation. So I would say one thing which I have learned across ABM or demand gen efforts is, because there's overburden of communication to the customers, there's too much communication coming out from different brands to the decision makers, so there is less and less engagement happening from the customers. So there are less number of people who would be inclined to fill up a form or download something, or there are less number of people responding to your emails, webinars, events, physical events, virtual events, etc. So it's more and more becoming less, wherein they want to rely more on 70% of research online before they even shortlist a vendor. So our thinking process changed from, our job is to make sure that you are there at right place, right time, and right platform to engage that customer for that solution. So you might want to make it easier for the decision maker or customer to have that information which he needs without getting too much information or asking for too much information. And that's where I think it changes the perception for your brand as well as for your content a lot from a customer's experience perspective. And you want to also make sure you are also covering demand gen aspects, like, because people who are taking decisions, they are human as well, so they rely on what my peers are telling about it, so they want to probably do a third party research understanding what my peers are selling. So I think the like, you yourself will read what Trustpilot review says about a particular brand. So can you imagine if somebody is buying a technology or trying to shortlist a vendor for that, so they would want to know that information. So you want to be make sure that you are covering that angle as well from a demand gen perspective, because although that will not help you measure immediately that it influenced the customer to shortlist us, but from a long run perspective, we know that there's somebody in the account who did come, compared, read the reviews, etc. And we did some cross check about this, that when they compared us with somebody else, and then when we saw there is opportunity in the same account, it's the exact same competition which we are seeing. And so that cover that angle as well from a customer voice perspective, that use your customer voice not on your website only with case studies, but also on third party sites as well. And a lot of the times these reviews and every all the data points are also getting feeded into AI engines as well.
The reason I love this answer and I find it hilarious is because like I'm in a co-working space, that's where our office is, and there's like a family-run company, just a desk, a couple of desks in front of me, and the son is going to the dad because the dad's going, "Oh, sales is easy," and the son's going, "Yeah, it was back in your day." Like to your point, like now it's all saturated. Us marketers kind of ruin everything by just like blowing up the channels, don't they? Deepak, great answer. Where are we? Question came in from Dan Smith, who former Inbox Insight. He asked, "What are the most effective and future opportunities for personalization in ABM?" So the last question was in hindsight. This question is forecasting. Where do you think personalization opportunities are?
Yeah, I think the personalization, a lot of times brand miss a point, like because we try to use technologies to deliver that personalization, but many a times we forget that we want to deliver a right experience from a personalization perspective, right? Because there are a lot of tools available in the market which helps you that, oh, I build the website for you, I can build an account level landing pages for you, but it's not the same experience as your main site. So and you are sending somebody else into an ecosystem which is not the same experience. So building that integrated ecosystem for personalization is very important, I would say, because that way you are giving an option to somebody who is coming and engage, because you're putting money, you're putting resources to get somebody to engage with that content, and you feel that is relevant content for them. But if they want some other option, you if you're sending them into a separate standalone page, it might not be a right experience. But if you have an integrated experience with that same page, which looks and feels same to your website, it's integrated in your website, that helps you build a lot more engagement in that account from a personalization. So I think from a future opportunities perspective, how you can integrate those experiences would be at the second is, of course, how you can use the AI tools to deliver large scale personalization, like with simple tweaks for industry or verticals. You have technology to identify if somebody is coming from FSI or healthcare or telco, what little personalization I can do. But wait, little tweaks like, hey, we deliver so much in FSI for one of our customers, or healthcare vendors, healthcare providers have been able to gain 20% efficiency with our products. So, like, because people would be able to relate with that personalized message and personalized engagement, right? So that these small tweaks can help you drive that engagement, as somebody has taken an effort to come to your website, or somebody you have invested to get somebody from your paid channel, that you want to make sure that you have a right personalized integrated experience for them. And how you use all your data and insights will determine that personalization experience, right? Because your first party third party data tells you a story that this is what you want to deliver to this set of audience. And if if that's correct, you want to deliver that at scale or at one-to-one level as well, but with an integrated experience, not with a disjointed experience, I would say, because that also tells a lot about your brand to the customer. If it's an enterprise customer, that tells you even about your brand and how you're treating me from experience perspective and effort you have put to deliver a message to me.
It's all about ABX, 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 bringing it all together. Deepak, the final question from me, and it's one of my favorite questions that's ever been asked. And it came in from Emily York Goldney at Clarify. She asked, if the sky was the limit in terms of budget, what would be your best in class recommendation for a campaign to drive account engagement? And I encourage you to be as weird and wonderful as possible here.
I would say from an integrated experience perspective, I would design something which is more multi-channel approach, which can help you deliver right message to the right audience. I would say, like for example, you want to make sure that you are driving that engagement across social, search, display, whatever campaign you're running. And then if you want to continue that experience down from a personalization perspective, from a tech perspective, a lot of things works well when it's F1. If you're getting your customer to an F1 event, that really works. If you can, you want to probably get a breakfast with the driver, right, for that customer to give him a fantastic experience from a ABM perspective. Or if you are want to take them to a match from a physical experience nowadays, yeah, like a lot of companies would be doing, but it's what's unique, what you can provide, right? Because everybody would not be able to provide that a breakfast or a dinner session with a F1 driver or a player. If you provide that, that's the experience which you can deliver from an ABM perspective for that prospective customer or a partner. And then, like if you have unlimited budget, of course, that building a whole customized digital experience for that account can. And then of course you have a lot more options. You can do like dedicated like experience workshops with them. In one of the roundtables I heard about somebody hosting and like a real drill, like where there is a cyber attack with the gameplay onto your data, how the boardroom situation will perform. So, like if you do that, of course, that gives a real time scenario to the customers to see what actions I need to take, probably. So yeah, combination of that, I think. But ultimately, everything will be successful when it's all well thought out, integrated, engaging the right people, which are relevant from a decision making perspective.
I don't know in what world I would be on your target account list or where you'd have unlimited budget, but you'd have me closed in seconds. Yeah, F1, big fan. And I quite like the idea. I've never heard of that. It's almost like your own. Is it kind of like a sock like display kind of game? That's pretty awesome. Deepak, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. The last question I've got is just: do you have a question for our next guest, or is there anything burning on the top of your head you'd like me to
Yeah,
ask
I would
someone?
love to know from a product or like a single solution companies that are they being successful with the ABM
With
or
the
not?
ABM?
Yeah, with ABM
Okay.
or not, right? Because we are seeing this trend desperately. Everybody wants to do ABM, but are we as a marketing community thinking through properly that is it a right approach for me, or I just make sure that I'm doing everything, just focus on doing account based targeting and engaging, right?
Hmm.
Is ABM necessary for small or mid-sized single solution product companies? That's the thing I would want to know. If somebody has cracked it, would love to know their experience about this. But personally, I feel it's a lot of marketing going on about this in the industry, but I would love to know more if somebody is able to crack it.
Okay, awesome. I can get that asked. I might try and break that down into a couple of
Yeah,
questions, and I guess it depends on who I speak to as well. But it also ties in nicely to what you said at the beginning of the interview, the importance of everything being like integrated. Like, is
yeah,
there any point of having a point solution if you can't actually run a full
yeah,
ABM play? Deepak, I'll end it here. Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Sounds good.